Hi, I'm Baldwin Burgess, and I'm here with my friend Walid Hayeck.
Hello, everybody.
How are you, Walid?
I'm fine, perfect.
Great. We're in Dubai at the Middle East FundForum 2013. Today is the Global Growth Summit Day. On a day like this, we speak about emerging markets, frontier markets, and obviously we speak a lot about this region. Yeah. And I really liked your presentation today.
Thank you.
The content was fresh. You said a few things that made me think. Things that you usually hear about the region. One of the things that really surprised me is when you spoke about this brain drain and you spoke about the employment situation here. Tell us a little bit. But you said a bunch of other things, but tell me a little bit about what that special message was today.
The special message was that we have a responsibility as a financial community, dealing with the region, financiers, investors, asset managers, brokers, regulators in the stock markets, economy ministers, finance ministers, etc. There is one essential responsibility that we all have, and it's becoming like a pressing need, and this was the message I wanted to send out, is that the unemployment rates are becoming alarming. And although when we sell the region, we like to talk about the oil wells and the infrastructure projects and the investments in infrastructure, investment demand needs, and you know, the fact that the region is young, the demography of the region is like young population, average age 25 years, and this means a lot of demand for consumption, etc. Yes, but demography, strong demographic figures are becoming a burden also on the region. If you don't know how to manage your demographic growth, and you don't find jobs for, in the next decade, as I said, to 100 million people more who are going to be in the job market in the region, you're going to be in serious trouble. You might have more instability than what you saw in the past. On the other hand, if you know how to manage that, this can be a booster for the economies of the region. So it's mainly, what I'm trying to say is the main capital, the main assets to take care of are the people of the region.
And they're quite well educated. And
they are very well educated, but the problem is they're not finding jobs. For the people who are average age between 15 years and 35 years, the unemployment rate is 24%. It's an alarming figure. While the education of the region, I mean the literacy rate is 89%, which is at the global average, higher than Asia, higher than Africa, and higher than Latin America. But yet, why do we have the highest unemployment rate? I think there's a problem in the education system. It's becoming old. It's unmatching with the reality of the terrain. Or maybe that the opportunities that we're creating through investments in infrastructure and real estate, etc., are not matching with the educated people of the region. And that's why these people are leaving to find jobs abroad. Let's say the MENA at large, including GCC and the rest of it, is attracting labor. It's a labor market.
It's an economies of scale market that needs labor.
People come from Africa, from Asia, from etc. to work in the region. And yet, a lot of educated people from the region, they leave the region to work in Europe, the US, in Asia. That's what we call a brain drain. Many of those don't come back. They leave for education, but then they stay there.
It's interesting you say that it might have to do with education, because there's a bit of a paradox going on here, right? Because, for example, where we are today in Dubai, it's actually quite easy to set up a company. It's a 1, 2, 3, push the button and go.
In Silicon Valley, it's much easier. This is where the problem is. The problem is we don't have this proliferation of, a venture capital, if you will. Or putting capital at risk. We don't have this, I'm going to say, fair distribution of capital. We don't have this easiness in the formation of capital for new ideas, or channeling capital for new ideas or startups, etc. In the US, you can come up with a startup and list it on a NASDAQ day one. I mean, raise venture capital or risk capital from the stock market directly. Or if a venture capitalist goes into a startup company, he knows he might be able to list it within the next 18 months. And it will be a good listing, and it will be tradable, and it will be etc. So the small cap market, the technology market, or etc. markets are there. They're very well developed. Any idea can be marketable easily because you have many venture capital funds or players or active capitalists, capital managers who can be interested in that idea.
It seems to me like there's an opportunity being missed, because also if you see, well, this region, let's forget about Egypt for a second. So that's another story. But this region, you've got people from all these cultures. You've got people from Pakistan, you've got people from Iran, you've got people from all sorts of places that back home are quite populous, and they all have their own sort of identity and culture. And it's amazing the opportunity we're looking at, because if sort of somebody can provide an entrepreneurial solution with a market aiming for the Pakistani market,
huge
setting
markets,
it up here in a functional place.
Exactly. And this is where we have
enormous, right?
And this is where the vocation of our capital markets are.
Right.
It's not to list a few blue chips and trade Amar and Etisalat day in, day out. This is not the vocation of these markets. Vocation of these markets is to avail capital to the private sector, to by itself find its own ways to create jobs. Not always the government coming out with new projects to create jobs. All we need is to put the right lubricants for the economy to speed up. So and if you look at the mid caps and small caps of the regions, they're illiquid. So what are we creating as solutions for this, the illiquidity of the mid and small cap? You know, in the UAE, they came out with the regulation for market making. Market making is not needed for the large blue chips that have already the liquidity needed. Market making is needed for mid cap and small cap. What are we as a community? How are we playing our role? The regulators prepared the law. None of the players in the local market have applied actually for a market making, for example, license. And so on and so forth. There are many areas where we can adjust. Already, if we can have a special focus from the regulators, from the authorities, on how to create liquidity on the mid and small caps in the market. The liquidity that we create, if the secondary market works fine and the mid and small cap, then you're going to see primary market, the IPO market of this segment. Small and mid cap work much better.
Maybe.
So the solution starts with making the market work first, and then attracting more IPOs.
And I guess transmitting the right message that this region has a lot of human capital to offer that can be tapped.
And we can see
that's
these
the message
entrepreneurs.
To the world, right?
I mean, these entrepreneurs are all over the world. I don't think anybody.
Oh, you want to make them come back first and then create the opportunities?
Or bring some of their ideas and make it work out of here, or do some regional adaptation of their global ideas, and then they know that if they set up a company here, they can, at the end of the day, list it in a year or two, or have a quick exit, not wait for 10 years before it's like multi-billion-dollar company they can IPO it properly. So have a more active mid and small market, small caps kind of stock market. This can be a huge catalyst for growth and employment creation in the region.
Okay.
That was the message.
Something to think about.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Walid.
Thank you.